Right, hello everybody and welcome to your monthly forecast. This is for the sign of Cancer and this is for the month of March. So I hope that everybody's doing well and I can't wait to take a look at all of the energy coming through for your sign. First and foremost, my name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and this reading can be used for the next 6 to 8 weeks, so don't be alarmed if you're here a little bit early. It's actually better if you watch it a month ahead because that's going to give you a chance to recognize signs and symbols and basically steer in the right direction. And one of the big dream messages that came through, because I work with both totems and the cards, is that of the Chariot. And the Chariot is a direction-based card, so I'm really going to try to help you feel like you're headed in that direction that is going to create stability and focus and sustaining sort of energy for you as well. Okay, so here's the format. We'll begin with channeled messages first. That's when I work through spirit and guides and deliver messages straight from source. So that is the beginning of the reading. Then we'll move into the Celtic Cross after that and see what additional messages are coming through. While I'm getting the presentation set up, if you'd like to show love and support, you can do that by hitting like and subscribe. Live videos tend to get less engagement and less sort of visibility. So a way that you can make sure that this is popping up in the feed is by putting a comment when this is on replay. So thank you in advance for that. You can also join me across social media for additional reminders of when I go live, and you can optionally give back here if you'd like to support the channel. Again, that is optional, but it does help. And remember, I don't give private readings, so if anybody is offering one, it isn't me. Okay, let's get into those channeled messages here. I've got the presentation up, and there was a lot of messages that came through with dreams last night, in particular when I was focusing on, like I said, the Chariot made an appearance. It's interesting because I've been reading for a while, and now Spirit sometimes will come through with a visual representation of the cards. For one of the other signs, it was actually like the Justice. Basically, an angel of justice came through and was making sure that you were doing what you're supposed to be doing. But for your sign, it was the Chariot. And it came through with a karmic message, and we'll kind of unravel all of this in just a moment. I also saw a dragon. So lots of cool imagery that we can break down here. Let's begin with the karmic piece here. So the Chariot was connected to traveling into the past. And basically, I was in a car with someone else. So you and a partner. And it's almost like it was either a cave or this underpass or overpass, whatever you want to call it. And when we exited the other side, it was a horse-drawn chariot. It was basically the Chariot. And the important thing here, we'll talk about the Chariot in just a moment, was the partnership. So on the other side, old names were used, even though, and everyone looked different, but I could see the new and the old versions of the people. So what I saw here was that there would be and there was also this feeling of we can't stay long. So what I see is really like the Eight of Cups. There's someone that's going to come back into your life, a karmic connection. And there is, as I said in the third bullet here, there's either a lesson or a delivery on a promise or a repayment of a debt. And that's pretty much it. There's a chance this is maybe like the last lifetime you guys are going to meet and just sort of have this quick engagement, and that's it. And so sometimes it's cool. You'll hear people talk about this where someone just came into their life for a moment, helped them get a job or helped them with something or made a connection for them with someone else, and that was it. They didn't see him again. That's what this kind of energy would be. It's just someone that's going to open a door, pay a karmic debt, say thank you, release some energy. It's not a lot of karma, and it kind of looked like it could be a fun engagement. Not all karma is heavy. So soulmates are basically karmic relationships. You're running across a soulmate, but it feels like it's a brief connection and a good connection. So be open to those sorts of doors that might be opened. I like this quite a bit, okay? And the main thing here is the person meets you when you're on the right path, which is a nice segue into the Chariot card. So the Chariot literally made an appearance in my dreams. Because nowadays we would probably call this the car or the motorcycle or whatever, or the train, because this deck was designed a long time ago. So the Chariot is, it's cool though, because with the horse-drawn pieces of this, there's two horses or at least one. In the card, there's usually two, and that indicates that as you're sort of in this next path of your life, people are either on board or they're not. If they're not on board with your direction, they're pulling the chariot in an opposite or a contrary position. And so in this moment in time, you really have to make sure that everybody understands where you're going, right? And for you, the chariot is a reminder to pick a direction, take the wheel, and drive. Reclamation of power, organization, clarity, and then communication of all of those things, okay? So the cool thing is you're not alone. You weren't alone in the chariot, and based on what I was looking at earlier, there's a partner there too that's going to come in and hopefully help you sort of connect to this and understand what this is all about. The next piece was really surrounding safety and grounding. So moving away from the old energy from the past, I saw a dragon in the dream as well. It lit up the night sky just like a firework on, like the 4th of July or Bastille Day or something like that. And it was a brief moment there. But what I was seeing with this is that there's going to be, for some of you, like an ignition. It's like you're turning the ignition key, right? So we need to focus on those lower chakras so that everything else can be stably sort of held up, and so you can open the channel to spirit a little bit wider. Imagine that the root chakra, the first one, is basically like it sounds. It's a root that kind of connects you to the planet, but it's also like the trunk of a tree. It allows you to stand tall. So safety is a paramount amount among this particular chakra. And that's why I kind of put the Queen of Pentacles here, because she's all about nurturing, safety, and grounding. She is Earth. And allowing yourself to connect to the element of Earth, taking any ideas or desires and really kind of grounding those into action. And then that chariot that we just talked about and the dragon itself, which flies, movement is key. But there's a moment of grounding that has to happen first, which is saying like, I am safe to explore this. I am secure that this is what I want to do, what I want to experience or explore. And I'm going to feed this with time, energy, and attention. So you can be both grounded and moving, and that's really the combination of things here. The grounding is more in the sort of the investment in self and the understanding of who you are. So that doesn't mean when you're grounded that you can't move. A great example of grounded but moving is a willow tree, right? It may be stationary, but the leaves and all of the branches move. So it's kind of like a willow. We need you to be both solid, but also able to bend and move as the energy necessitates. If there's something that doesn't feel safe, it's time to spread your wings and move on, which is a nice segue to the last message here. So the red dragon also indicates the ability to breathe fire, passion, and life into a new chapter of your life, and also to feel free to try new things. And I selected the Judgment card here because it is like the phoenix rising from the ashes. It's also answering to that higher call. It's also one of the angelic cards, and the dragon can also be symbolic of an angel, believe it or not. They're just flying beings, right? So this is a time to experiment and explore uncharted territory and to allow yourself to reinvent. Don't keep trying to repeat the same chapter. What makes some of my favorite musicians interesting is they're not going to just do a carbon copy of the previous album. They're willing to experiment with new soundscapes, right? And sometimes it's way ahead of, the trend. I kind of get a kick out of the fact that there's that one TikTok song from Lady Gaga from Art Pop that, or maybe it was actually from the Born This Way album, but like she was way ahead of herself, and some of those albums didn't get as much recognition, and then now the songs are popular. So sometimes you just have to take a chance. It'll eventually be understood, and you'll eventually sort of get the recognition. You're not doing things in this lifetime explicitly for Six of Wands moments. It's really for the growth and the development of the soul, which is what I'm here to help you with each and every day, each and every month. All right, so again, we see a past life connection coming in. It's brief. It's, for many of you, just a door opening or eye-opening opportunity or affirmation. And that's all that this person needs to do in this moment, in this lifetime. Then I also see this opportunity like a light bulb moment where you're understanding the direction that you need to take and maybe conveying that direction. There may be someone that is getting on board or they're getting off the sort of like chariot because you don't have room for people that are dragging you down in this moment in time. And safety, grounding, security, all of this is going to be important. If you don't feel safe, if you don't feel supported, you can find a better place to be in the long run. And that's really what this is all about, because it's time to fly, it's time to explore, it's time to experience new things. And I'm here to help you set that up. All right, let's go ahead now and take a look at the Celtic Cross here. Looking at the next, like I said, 6 to 8 weeks, this can be used for Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus. And you can also watch on behalf of other people in your life that you care about. By the way, we'll take a deeper dive looking at the Sun, Rising, and Moon specifically a little bit later. So if you want to stick around, it's worth the time. All right, let's see what's coming through, folks. Definitely a month for some healing to happen. Let me just clear this here. Let's give it another shuffle. There we go with Judgment. That's so cool. We also have an extra bonus card that popped up here, the Fountain. This is like 22, I guess, in this deck, which is really cool. So more on that in a second. I don't know why I get excited, but well, because I like what I'm doing here, but it's always cool when there's synchronicities here. So we're talking about clearing karma, a karmic partnership. Judgment is a past life partnership. I talked about it being very brief. We have a nice acknowledgement from Spirit there that that's coming through. So always, it's even fun for those of us that read cards to sort of see it validated. Such a cool card here. Beautiful images coming through for your sign. Some really nice messages as well. It's going to be a good month, Cancer. I mean, I believe we have the capacity to make each month amazing, but I'm especially excited about some of these. Let's see, I want to use a different deck for this. All right, let's get started. Before we even kind of break down all the cards, I like to look for patterns before I begin, just so I can get a flavor for everything too. So definitely some healing that's going to happen, but that's not the main story. It might be at the center. It's more sort of like the inciting incident that kind of helps you go in the right direction, but a little bit of healing to kick things off. But then what we see here is amazing expansion, which is the payoff for the healing. You're going to be busy this month. I see a lot of resources. I see some support. I like what I see here. All right, let's begin with your catalyst first. So the catalyst, of course, is what can help you create some movement, some action, and also maintain that action. And I talked at the very beginning about a karmic partnership. I saw basically a past life flashback, and same face, different name, but kind of transposed on the past. So this is a good connection, and this is a good opportunity, because once you clear this karma, it clears the way for something even better. We wait until our soul is ready to basically fix something or recognize something. And by the way, just a fun aside, and this might be something that I cover in a podcast in the future. I'm working on that for this summer. But so why do we come into this lifetime with amnesia? Why can't we remember everything? Because it's a clean slate each lifetime. We come in without the jaded energy of seeing an adversary and thinking, you did this to me, you hurt me. Or seeing someone and immediately assuming the best when maybe there was some work that needed to be done. We can see it with a fresh set of eyes. The soul retains the knowledge. It guides us. It may sort of say, be careful with this one, or that's a good connection there, but we don't know why. And then we just sort of, we use a combination of our gut and then also this new perspective. So we need to forget a little bit so we can learn more. It's not ignorance, it's a clean slate. And so you're going to get to see someone differently this lifetime, maybe in a kinder light, maybe in a more critical light, but it's definitely clearer. And this is going to help you clear up whatever it was that you were holding on to. And if it's just from this lifetime, it doesn't have to even be from the past, like deep past. It could just be from your childhood. There's someone here where you felt maybe that they owed you something or you owed them something. And now you get a chance to say what you need to say. If I could also impart one piece of advice based on my experience over the past 10 years where people have come and left my life, don't sleep on an argument, don't hold on to a grudge, say that you love someone when you can, and really get that stuff out so that there's no regret. Thankfully, I did that, and I'm able to kind of move forward without feeling regret, but there were close calls with even just random acquaintances where there was an argument and then someone just passed away, and thank goodness I had a chance to say I'm sorry, and we kind of like cleared things up. You always want to make sure that you have a chance to clear the karma in real time if you can. Otherwise, it comes back in another lifetime. It looks like the good news with this is whatever this person's coming in to do, it's probably to either help you feel better, or you're going to feel better when you say something to this person, or maybe it's just good karma and they're coming in and they want to help you out this time and say, you helped me like 15 lifetimes and I just want to give you this one big break. And they'll give you a break and then move on, and that's it. It's just a karmic repayment. Sometimes it works that way. It's not always debt. Sometimes it's a blessing. So whatever it is, it'll be here for your benefit. You'll recognize it as you go through it. You'll feel better after it. All right, let's take a look at the cards now. I do feel for some of you it is letting go of pain. So we have the Ten of Swords reversed, which is a release or some sort of healing associated with pain. It could just be understanding that it doesn't last forever. The pain doesn't last forever. Having just, grieved someone last year, I can say that too. Like every day, every month gets better. And one day you just wake up and you think, I guess I'm back, right? Like I feel like I'm back to normal. It's a new normal. It's an adjusted norm because nothing takes the place of the person that was in your life. But you suddenly you move on, right? And that's how healing works. Exes in your life, ex-boyfriends, ex-spouses, ex-girlfriends, whatever. It's sort of all the same too. They occupy a big space, and it hurts when the person's gone or when you separate or when you move on. But eventually you become whole again, and you're like, oh, okay, this is what this is. This was to teach me that I'm okay. So we see a reclamation of self here at the center, some healing. Some of you might be going through not just emotional pain, but it could be physical. This attaches itself to like the spine and the neck. So if you are having any issues, particularly with chronic pain, obviously I'm not a doctor. So go to a doctor and get some help. Go to a chiropractor, get an adjustment, take care of that. This can also be a chronic issue in your life that's coming up that says, at this point, it's time to let it go. At this point, it's time to release. So the release for each and every one of you, guess what? There is no timer on that. And what I just said is the best piece that I can give you, which is slow and steady with respect to separation, with grief, with healing, with movement and moving on. Every day is a little bit better. You don't notice it at the beginning. You probably won't notice it in the middle. It's when you just get over the peak of that sort of difficulty. It's just like, oh, today was a little bit better. Oh, today's a lot better. Wow, this month is amazing. And one day, you're not even paying attention to that anymore. And that's kind of like the cool thing about the turning point. And it feels like all of you could be on a different spectrum there. So I'm just here to remind you of that it exists. There was a really cool thing that I heard the other day, and I wish I could get the attribution for it, but a comparison of emotions like a heartbeat. And so, there's highs and there's lows in the heartbeat. If it's just a flat line, you're not living, right? So if you're experiencing great moments and not so great moments, you're alive. And it's not about worrying about, sometimes staying in the middle isn't it. Sometimes we're just kind of traveling up and down. It's the speed and the grace with which you can kind of go between those that really kind of creates the pattern of your life. So Don't worry so much about not feeling this or not feeling this. That's part of living, okay? And it's okay to feel whatever you're feeling. There's something else coming that can kind of shift that in the future. The Hermit card is saying that you've really started to understand who you are. This is one of the wisest cards in the major arcana. It's one of the cards of introspection, of knowledge, of wisdom. It's connecting to the past life like we just talked about. And for some of you, you just need to spend a little time on your own. Nothing wrong with the Hermit. Whenever it comes up, it's saying self-care is what you want to focus on right now. I like that we see this person holding a flashlight when what looks like a snowy night or whatever. So again, you may be that light for someone else. You might be finding the light within. You might be leaning on a mentor as well. The Hermit can also be a trusted mentor. Think of like Gandalf from Lord of the Rings. It can be sort of like that old, wise, learned person in your life, a grandmother, grandfather, someone that you just really trust. So the core here, though, is that you have what it takes. These two cards together, Ten of Swords and Hermit, are saying in a moment when it feels like nothing's quite working, you're going to find an inner strength that you didn't know you had. All right, so that's one piece. Healing from pain, moving on from a painful situation, avoiding getting into an argument, of course, with the Ten of Swords. That can be another piece of that. What I see in the deep past is many of you have already done the inner work to be able and to be ready to receive. It could just be a mental reset for some of you where there's been a fight or flight mode, or there's been a lot of drama, but the universe is coming in and it's saying, this doesn't have to be the status quo. This isn't how it always is. Things can and will sort of take a shift for the better. So if you're ready and if you're willing, this card is coming through to help you shift your perspective. I like that we see the circular sort of chair. It's a very postmodern sort of illustration there, but I always look at the suit of cups also not just as like a chalice or a cup, but it's basically a vessel or a satellite. It's a receptive sort of energy. It receives. So basically the one thing that you should be, if you want to focus on this, that you could be connecting with this month is I'm open to receive ... and then what it is that you're trying to manifest. Is it love? Is it abundance? Is it opportunity? Is it clarity? It could be something different for each of you. It could just be one thing if you really want to send a laser beam out into the universe, say, I'm really open to receive this. And then you should put in the highest forms and all, or better, because you never know if the universe wants to send you an upgrade. And accept it with open arms if you get an upgrade. Speaking of which, we have the Ten of Pentacles here in the recent past. Many of you already have some abundance flowing in, which is great. Don't second guess it. Sometimes Ten of Pentacles in reverse can be imposter syndrome, like, do I really deserve this? Well, if the universe presented it to you, it sees the value. Hopefully you can as well. This can constitute peer or familial pressure, people wanting you to conform to their norms, their version of what's right, but you and you alone decide what's right for you. There's that doorway that I was seeing in my dreams. It was something like that, but there was almost like a little curtain. I think it's the veil, basically. It was spirit showing me like the veil between lifetimes, but there was some sort of a veil and an arch like that I went through. So this thing that you're going to clear karmically, and we'll continue to look at the cards and I'll get some clarity on the karma. I may pull a reader's choice for this as well, but whatever it is that you clear will help open the pathway for the abundance. But it already feels like Spirit wants you to be able to receive that. It feels like it's knocking on the door. So hopefully today what I can do is help you identify that and not get in your own way when it comes to sort of like welcoming that in. All right, let's look at your crowning card. We have Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands is reversed. This is really cool, actually. I love this deck. I'm using Fountain Tarot, I believe, today. Yes. So the Nine of Wands can be difficult lessons that you're able to persevere through. And what we see here in this illustration, what I'm getting intuitively is each one of those is like a step up. If you can get through it with grace and without getting sort of like trampled down, the fact that you keep on keeping on, it's an indicator of your grace. The traditional card shows someone that's a little bit worse for the wear. A lot of times they have a bandage on their forehead. This person's doing a much better job of being able to say like, no, nothing's going to get me down. I'm going to finish what I started. I'm going to hold my ground, and I'm going to use each and every experience as a stepping stone to get further up the experiential ladder of life and the soul. So that's what this is about. You may want to rush to the finish line. Don't. You may feel a little exhausted. If you do, listen to your body. These two cards together, that can be like, a lot of times this can be attached to the head. So we can get headaches. Sometimes even if you clench your jaw, it can be a pressure headache like that. Anything that could kind of happen within I would even say like it's cognitive and brain sort of energy as well. So obviously neurological is the word I was looking for. Obviously you should go to the doctor if any of that's going on. But a lot of times this can just be stress and stress management. And this can be the body coming in and saying, if you won't let me take a day off, we're going to get sick, so that you have no choice but to sit down and stop. So I feel like you need to shift into a lower gear, put the brakes on a little bit, and take care of yourself. You're still going to finish what you've intended to finish, but there's a little bit of work that can be done that helps you avoid burnout, which is what could happen if you're not careful. All right, let's move into this. This is one of my favorite cards in the Fountain Tarot. And it is the Fountain Tarot because that's the name of it here. So this is basically, it's not titled Stargate, but it looks to me like a Stargate. And it looks exactly like the Stargate from 2001: A Space Odyssey if you look at the final scene or final scenes in the movie. So it also connects nicely to what I was talking about, which was the liminal space between the two parts of your life, past and present, and ostensibly here, present and future. So we see this opportunity to create and make an amazing gain or a passageway into, it's a breakthrough. Let's put it that way. I feel like you could, with leaps and bounds, have a breakthrough if you're willing and able to step through this opportunity that wants to present itself. There's no wrong way to look at this card. It did come through in the upright position, but it's a gateway card. So this could be big. It could be, for some of you, someone wanting to get engaged. It could be a new job opportunity. It could be moving. It could be losing a job, because we have initially what feels like a loss or pain or something that you don't like, but it's followed up quickly by something that you not just like, but that you love. So you're seeing both sides of the portal here for this. So if anything difficult happens over the course of the next 2 months here, remember that there's this opening. When one door opens, one door shuts, it's like 2 or 3 are going to open up for you. You're going to have a nice opportunity here on the horizon. So stay open, and in your manifestation exercise, really think, if it doesn't serve me, that's fine. I'm willing and ready to let go of it. Show me the opportunity that really shines brightly, that's really ready for my resonance, me, basically. And you should be able to see it. It should be coming through, because I think being receptive to it is going to be part of what opens or unlocks that for you. Okay? All right. I'm not undervaluing or underestimating the fact that this is difficult, but understanding that there's something better on the horizon helps with that a bit. Let's see how you're showing up. King of Wands, this is good. The dragon energy that I connected with earlier is also very Wands based because it's fire. So the King of Wands definitely connects to that red dragon. And when it comes to, look at this is pretty powerful. This reminds me of, it's almost like he's taking a magic wand or something and he's saying, this is where it happens. And there's like this big sort of like burst of light that, or like, again, I can think of a couple things in again, Lord of the Rings, where Gandalf will hit his staff and light comes out, or he broke the bridge, or things like this. So there's this moment where you're defining what you stand for and what you want to create, and you're sort of like Zeus here, throwing the bolt and saying, let's do this. So there is leadership, there is authority, there is voice that's a part of this new you, this new thing. Are you ready to engage with the boss, basically? Because this is the boss card. So if you can be the boss, if you can talk to the powers that be and ask for something that you want, this is also a turnkey opportunity where things may ignite, and I like that. In general, the King of Wands would say managing business is going to be very beneficial and also very easy for you in this moment in time. Stepping into leadership opportunities is important. Holding your ground is important. And developing ideas is supported. All of these things are really good with this, okay? But what we do get from the King of Wands is you're the source. You're the source of this information, this direction, and all of that. Okay, so guess what? Hashtag synchronicity we've got going on here. We got both the Chariot and the Judgment card as well. The Chariot is in the environment. I talked about karmic relationships with the Chariot. Bingo, here we go. So with the Chariot, everything that I just talked about, look at how it's almost like two transposed horses there. So again, I feel like it's the question from the card and from the universe is, which way? What direction? What do you stand for? What do you want? And not in a sort of like confrontational way, but really in an inquisitive, like, let's do this, but where are you going? How can I help? And if we kind of imagined the universe sometimes more as a concierge in that respect, it's basically saying there's a lot that I can set up for you. The concierge isn't going to walk you all the way to some of these things, but they will set up the appointment. That's kind of what the universe wants to do. Yeah, here, let me give you some options. Which one sounds good to you? So when you're clear, the universe can start to help you manifest and create some synchronicities. Things that are going to be coming up in the environment, questions about authority. That's why you're trying to kind of embrace the boss energy of the King of Wands. And Yoda would say, do or do not, there is no try. So you have to be the boss. There may be people in your life that are testing the authority. There may be people that are questioning your direction. And so as you start to really say, no, this is the direction, and this is what I want, and this is how we're going to do it, things will start to get done. Could be some travel on the horizon for you. The Chariot, of course, is a card of traveling. You have some control over that. How much, how often, and if you want to travel, okay? I think a big part of this is connected to a person coming in or out of your life, and it's a brief sort of engagement, but a good one, okay? What is the opportunity this month? What might be your fear as well? Well, love for some of you, and passion and creativity. For some of you, there could be healing between parent and child, because we have the King and the Page here, and this can be definitely parent and child. The Page of Cups, though, is an offering. So for some of you, the opportunity is something that your heart desires. And maybe there is that rebound energy that we saw here and a fear associated with it, which is, I don't want to feel the pain again. Protect me, universe, from that pain. And that's basically what I'm picking up on here, is a little bit of fear. But remember that past cycles don't have to repeat. Once we've learned the karmic lesson, once we understand our power, they don't have to repeat. I really just see this as an opportunity to be happy. So when that opportunity to be happy comes through, whether it's in love or in some other experience, Apollo just came back, then embrace it and see where it takes you. To that end, let's look at your outcome, which was, drumroll, Judgment. The Judgment card here is pretty cool as well. Let's see. To me, you can't really see, the card was reversed, but it's almost like there is a veil around the soul here. And they're just kind of coming out of it. It's almost like Matrix, Neo coming out of the sort of pod here and trying to see the bigger world around them. The thing from which he's kind of coming out of is the horn from Judgment, from the angel. So this is answering the call, but once we awaken to the call, we kind of feel like a newborn. It is appropriate here because this is a card of rebirth. So you have to look really close and you can barely see the person coming out of that veil. So for many of you with Judgment in the reverse state, there's a couple of things that I want to highlight, and then we'll go into the extended forecast. So the first thing would be, sometimes you can't control what's going on around you. So for instance, if you're working somewhere, there can be a change of leadership, there can be a staff reduction. There's a lot of that going on right now. And you don't get to decide basically what happens with respect to that. Sometimes there is a decision that's been delivered to you. Judgment reversed is saying you can't maybe control their decision, but you can control your reaction. So in this moment, how can you look at this as a blessing, as a chance to reinvent, as a chance to step away from something that maybe had already served its highest good? It's not even a maybe. When something like that happens, it's the universe saying, move or be moved. I'll move you on if you're not ready to move on. And that's basically what those situations represent. So there's now a chance to look at the other options. That one's been taken off the table as a blessing to you from the universe. What else can you do? What else can you focus on? Judgment and justice can also constitute disbelief when reversed. The difference between the two, so like justice in reverse would be thinking like, I don't know if I can make this decision. I don't know if I'm worth it. Judgment in reverse would be feeling like, why is all of this happening to me? And I would rephrase it this way. Why is all of this happening for me? And what can I do to embrace it? The universe, the world, life doesn't happen to you. You co-create it. It happens for you. Some things are great. Some things are difficult, but they're all part of the curriculum. Once you learn the lesson, you start to graduate through the steps of the 9 of Wands towards the next peak. So sometimes we're in the valley, sometimes we're in the peak. And we constantly go through that throughout this lifetime. Nobody's going to constantly be at the top. Because the same thing would happen. It's like a heart. If it's too high, cardiac arrest. If it's too low, nothing's happening. If it's in the middle, not good. So we're supposed to go through the ups and downs. And it's just about going up and down the staircase and remembering how you got back to the top, how you can get up from the bottom, all of that stuff. So that's really what I'm getting here, is it's all part of a bigger plan, and don't freak out in the moment, okay? We're gonna expand the forecast and get some additional insight in health, wealth, love, and destiny. I'm gonna start off with your health card. We'll take a look at this beautiful spider here. I know you're like, spiders are beautiful? Yes, they are. So we're gonna be looking at your health card here, and this is about your well-being, not just your body. And as the caption kind of states here, I'm not a replacement for a doctor, for a therapist, for a financial advisor, or anything of that nature. I'm here to look at energy and empower you. But what we're looking at with the energy here is this beautiful spider spirit, and it says, make your dreams real. In many decks, the spider will be associated with Wheel of Fortune or 10 of Pentacles, sometimes even 8 of Pentacles, because it's a card of weaving, creating, and attracting. Spider webs are very attractive energies. So when I see it in a totem, it's a good thing. Just like a snake can be a power symbol, the spider can be a magnet. So the card upside down, it doesn't matter. Notice how the spider looks like he's standing up even when it's upside down. It doesn't matter. Spiders can go in every direction. So I don't read a reversal with this. Doesn't even compute here. What I see though is maybe looking at it from a different perspective. So when we just talked about this, why is this happening for me? What's going on? Why am I being asked to look at this from a different direction? Well, maybe had something not left your life, whether it was a job or a person, you wouldn't be looking around at what else was there. You wouldn't be looking within to see the power and the energy that you had. So there is a chance here to reclaim. All right, some other things. Let's look at the web as a cautionary note. Don't get caught in other people's drama. You create your own situations, your own opportunities. Don't get caught up in a scheme, a plan, or drama that is not what you want, is not fitting of you, is not something that you really want to create. You've got other things to focus on. Clean up your messes, let other people clean up theirs. A spider every day goes through its web and either rebuilds it or replaces parts that were broken from their last meal. So you got to clean up the messes every day, create a clean slate. Let's look at the cards here and see some additional messages. I already talked about a few, but we'll highlight them again. Again, the number one thing is pacing yourself, getting the rest that you need, taking care of any chronic issues. You can rewind and listen to what we talked about with that. Some of you may feel isolated. The Hermit can also be a card of like, how can I get out of my shell? There could be a fear of getting back out there. The good news here, almost the minute you're ready to do that with the 10 of Pentacles, the opportunity starts knocking and opening up. So give yourself credit, give yourself a chance to sort of take a step at a time. But I really do feel like there's a lot of People and opportunities. Most of the cards, there's a lot of court cards here. King of Cups, King of Wands, Page of Cups. Then we also see people cards in the Ten of Coins, and even there's not many cards here that are inanimate. There are people in all of them. So I see a lot of community around you, suffice it to say. All right. For many of you, you could just be adjusting to a change in your life, and that's okay. Change takes time to adjust to. As I said earlier, pressure headaches, migraines, anything that's neurological, obviously get, the appropriate sort of advice for that. See if there's anything else that we want to look at here. I think for some of you, it's just taking control and taking ownership of what it is that you want to change in your health or in your sort of well-being. Because as I said, health constitutes mind, body, and spirit. So what in your life feels like it's going off the tracks or the rails a little bit? And what can you do to pull those sort of mind, body, spirit opportunities together? Okay. For many of you, relationships are going to constitute a very big piece of the puzzle here. So some of you, it's familial because this is family, 10 of Pentacles, and these are two family members. There could even be a third family member. So it's kind of balancing all of that out. So take time for relationships this month, take time for personal healing, focus on neurological health, and that can include mental health. And there's a chance to really turn a corner here with Judgment reverse. This is rebirth. So I like what I see overall. It's good. Letting go of someone who's gone, whether they're still living or it's just a divorce or a very sort of, amicable parting, it's still loss. It's still sort of like that mourning. So I definitely pick up on that for some of you. All right, we're going to move next to wealth, which is comprising resources, life purpose, and career. And when we're looking at that this month, we have a creative card. So this would be like the Emperor, but it's also, it says God on it. So some of you might be connecting with what Spirit is calling you to do. You're getting that higher calling that I talked about in the Judgment card, which is saying, if I'm not going to do it now, when am I going to do it, right? And as long as this is something that my spirit, my higher self is called to do, what's the problem? There is no problem. And this is also reminding you that you are the source, which is what I talked about in the King of Wands card here. So you are the source of creative energies, creative opportunities, and if you're willing and ready and able to embrace that, some exciting things can happen for you. Looking just generally speaking at your resources this month, it feels like, again, some of you could have an opening with the 10 of Pentacles, but there could be a fear of a repeat from the past. This isn't the past. This is much different this time. You have two cards that are off the chart. One is off the charts. This is like, again, this would be 22, and then we have 20 there, and the world is in between the two of these. So this month, maybe that's where you're at, is that expanding state. As you move through that expansion, it can be a little bit discombobulating, but it's okay. Hard work pays off. 9 of Wands is definitely worth it. Your passion is what is pulling people closer to you and what you want to do. It's what gets them kind of stuck on you, on your ideas. So we like that. This is also saying if you can do what you like, you can make it work. This is in the health card, but these two are very powerful. This is a creator. This is a creator. This is co-creation. So you have this chance right now when it comes to your work and to your career to make something that doesn't exist. Maybe if you wanted to stay at a job where, there's movement and change and whatever, merging and stuff like that happening, you could talk to people and say, I've always wanted to try this and I know that there's a lot of changes. How about this? That's like the Tower reversed energy where you decide to take it by the reins and just say, let's do this. And that's kind of why the Chariot came through. So you have more control, more power than you may give yourself credit for. We have 4 cards that I would call boss cards: the King of Wands, the Chariot, the Spider, and God. They're all big management, control, creation, manifestation cards. Part of your karma this lifetime could be owning your power. Okay? Easy as that. Seeing yourself as a leader, seeing yourself as valuable. We did get at least one coin card here. So the 10 of Pentacles coming through tells me that you have a good chance of getting what you need this month. But there's a surprise. There's something unexpected. Don't limit yourself. And allow yourself to kind of explore. Could be a chance for something that you were passed up on before. Someone changes their mind. Someone sees you from a different perspective. So try something again. I like what I see here. All right, let's move from wealth to love. This can be all levels of relationship, from friends to family to romantic relationships. And the card that came through here was the porcupine, and it says time for a beginner mind. I mentioned that we come into each lifetime with a clean slate, so it might be about letting go. The porcupine and the Ten of Swords are totally related. There could be someone in your life that this is their defense mechanism. When they're afraid of being hurt, they hurt someone else first. It's kind of what a porcupine does, right? It's not necessarily a good or a bad animal. It just has a unique defense mechanism. Like a skunk makes things smell, a porcupine will make things hurt. And it's just saying, don't bother me. So pay attention to people's signals. If they don't want to talk, leave them alone. If you don't want to talk and someone's bothering you, rather than kind of like going into the Ten of Swords, just step back. The Hermit's coming through and saying, just try to avoid that, okay? I would say the important thing here is if you let that energy be, this isn't going to bother you unless you bother it. So when we're looking at relationships, don't poke the bear or the porcupine in this particular instance. It's not worth it. It'll just be an argument. Arguing for the sake of arguing, it's just exhausting. If you can have a constructive conversation about what needs to be improved, great. But there's a big difference between a healthy argument and just someone that's saying hurtful things. Step away from them and don't let the needles get under your skin. That would be my advice. All right, specifically taking a look at relationships. If you're in a loving and an existing relationship already, everything that I just said is especially true. Communication could be better. Someone could be going through a lot of pain and they may not be at their best when it comes to communicating. So if you have a partner, give them space. That's literally what this card says, or ask for space if you need it. I do see a lot of love. I do see the ability to move into something new or better if you guys are willing to do some work. But right now, one of you is going through a lot. Could just be pressure at work. Could be pressure over the finances as well. Could be family driving you crazy. All of these things are normal in an existing relationship. The cool thing here, we have two bosses, and this is possibly why it's this is you and this is your partner, because this represents you and who's right around you. So you both want to be right. Maybe there's a little bit of truth in both parts of the story, and if you can see that, that'll be helpful. Love is the answer, but there is some ambiguity in the outcome. So what we want to see is a change. Things either are going to change or you're going to move in a different direction. So if it changes, this is like a forever partner because it's the Fountain card with the infinity symbol on it. So things could go into a really nice deep level. If you can get through a challenge together, you can thrive. 10 of Pentacles, this is better or for worse, right? 10 of Pentacles and 10 of Swords, the Fountain. And then we have this wisdom of the past here. But if not, that's okay. Something better, the Fountain will await. All right, so that's existing relationships. Karma plays a role. There could also be a third party coming in to teach that karmic lesson. And it's really about the two of you understanding that and seeing that person as a teacher rather than an agitator. All right, if you're looking for love this month, self-healing is the most important piece. Until you have healed, it doesn't make sense to try to date or spend a lot of time with others. So the Hermit card is saying, go within, heal this first. Stand up to family and peer pressure if you need to. Finish what you've started. And then you might have this cool connection from the past coming in. Even after you've cleared the karma, you may have a chance to kind of continue on. It will be a new relationship, a new level. Time for a beginner's mind here. So once you've done this, then you're starting a new slate for this lifetime. Could be a water sign coming into your life. This could also be you, of course. The main thing that I see for you is understanding that there are no limits to your potential. I think for many of you, whether you're in a relationship or looking for one, that's powerful. That's a really big umbrella for today. Don't put limits on yourself. The Fountain is limitless. The Judgment card reverse is saying it's all happening for you. And these manifestation cards, so like let's raise the limit. Like you are a limitless being. You know, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Really imagine dream big this month and see how far you can go for that. So can you meet someone? Yes. Is it past life? Probably. Are you ready right now? Doesn't look like it just yet, but probably as you get things organized mid-month, it'll be a little bit better. All right. Looking at those that are single and happy, optimal time to be single and happy for all the aforementioned reasons. There's personal healing, there's inner growth, there's a lot going on with work and extracurricular stuff. I see a lot of people in your life right now, so I don't feel like you're isolated unless you want to be. And I think that what's really cool for you is some of you that are single and happy are working on like this big unveiling, this big release. We can still see the veil here, the package or the, sort of like the wrapping there. So absolutely finish whatever it is that you're doing. There's going to be plenty of time later to engage with others and to do some exciting things. This is a great time for some of you to also focus on school, training, personal development, very nicely connected to today's one card reading because the Hermit is all of those things as well. So I like what I see with respect to that. Okay, let's take a look now at your Destiny card. This changes from month to month because you keep changing your trajectory, and that's what we're here for. So let's see what your Destiny card has to say. Be graceful in movement and action. Amen to that. So we have the Shaolin Master here, basically finding that perfect balance, listening and heeding to the signs, and guess what we have behind this master? A dragon. So there is a different color on this particular card. So I saw red. We have more of a tangerine, which would kind of be a combination of, I guess, the first two chakras together. So somewhere between those. But I like the message here, which is, the power is in the grace. Power isn't how much noise you make, how much pain you can cause, how much, people fear you. It's basically how I think strong leaders are kind, magnanimous, graceful, and they can also create action without threats or fear. So you're like this, a magnanimous, kind dragon, a friendly dragon, like you would see in a kid's book, where there's a lot of power, but there's an understanding of how to use the power. So that's your big growth opportunity this month, is to lead by example, to lead with dignity and grace. And sometimes when we're in the energy of someone who is just spouting out all this stuff, to be able to just be this can be challenging, but that's where your power, and that's where a potential door could open up, because people are going to see grace under fire. Okay? I'm going to do a quick reader's choice to take a look at the karma. What's the karma you need to clear? And then we'll do a big idea. So for the karmic message here, because I'm pretty curious about that, let's see what the lesson is that you can clear in this moment in time. It does have to do with love. So what we were talking about, a karmic relationship, it's coming in, and we have the Ace of Cups, and we have two doves on this card as well. So it is first and foremost to love and accept yourself. If you don't love and accept yourself, you will not be able to find that successfully or easily in another. They're not going to be able to see the value and the worth. So working on self-worth, self-acceptance, that's one of the most important messages here. Being open and ready to receive good news, and being ready and willing to be happy and to embrace in something new. I'm not just talking about like the emotion, but just sort of choosing that path and saying, I could do this and make everyone else happy, or I could do this and really live my best life. Live your best life. Do what your heart really is telling you to do, especially when it's connected to that source energy that came through in no less than 4 cards today. Let's take a look at a big idea and pull it all together. We have the Hierophant. Lots of powerful wisdom cards coming through today. Hierophant in reverse. So the big idea this month is to think outside of the box. If we look really closely at this, you can see the Hierophant opening up a box, really kind of pulling out anything that, or letting go of anything that needed to be categorized or fit into a particular sort of template. This is about rebooting that. With this card in reverse, it's saying, I'm going to let go of all of these things I thought I needed to be or others thought that I needed to be. And I'm going to just allow myself to be who I am. And I'm going to allow others to be who they are. It is about getting just enough organization and control in your life without it being suffocating. It's about allowing other people to make mistakes if they need to make mistakes. All you have to do is have an open heart, an open mind, an open door. They can come through it if they want to, or they can go in their own direction. You can let them know that you have some thoughts, but they don't have to listen. So the Hierophant in reverse is understanding that it's the opposite of what you would see on the typical card, which is a person sitting with two disciples, listening to everything like with bated breath. And this is basically saying, no, you know what? I don't have to sort of like feed all of this to you. You can come to me when you're ready. I'm going to focus on some personal development, and we can do our own thing. So really owning your power and not feeling like you have to control everyone, everything. And likewise, if there's someone around you that's trying to do that, stepping back from that energy. All right, let's go into sun, rising, and moon messages, dig a little deeper into those aspects of your chart and see what's going on. So again, you can always use this for any aspect, but I like to look at these three because as a reader, they're actually what I look at as well. Most readers would tell you to look at sun, rising, and moon. Sun, rising, and moon, they're pretty good. All right, we'll begin with sun sign messages, and we have the Seven of Wands in reverse. Seven of Wands is basically saying, I know what I can do, what I can't do. I'm not afraid to delegate or to push back. Let's look at the card close up so you can soak in the illustration. What's cool about this one is, unlike the traditional card, he doesn't feel the need to sort of get on the defensive stance. He's kind of almost like a magician here, pushing things back with sheer will or intention. So this is saying, don't feel like you have to get on that defensive stance. Just sort of standing firm, saying no, can be powerful in and of itself. Seven of Wands is an encouragement to work smarter, not harder. And so the card in reverse could say, take a break, let go of something, focus on something else. When you go down one in Wands, it's going to take you to the Six of Wands, which is success. So basically, for my sun sign Cancers out there, this is really about doing less, but doing it so much better. And sometimes we just need permission to take a step back. And that's all this is saying. So do less, do it better. Let go of some stuff. Let some other people focus on things. Don't feel like you need to be pushed into doing anything. And that's going to be, I would say, key to your success and key to your happiness this month. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else that I want to talk about with that. When it comes to things like insurance and security, this card is connected to that as well. So anything you need to do to feel a little, we talked about the red dragon earlier, anything you need to do to feel more secure and protected, of course, this card would be connected to that as well. All right, moving from sun sign to rising and ascendant, you have an upright Ace of Wands. This is idea generation. This is following through on an idea. This also could be for some of you a spark between someone else and you. A physical sort of connection, which is cool if you're just meeting someone new. But for many of you, the ace is just something that you want, something you want to do. So take that wish or that desire, ground it, put some energy into that. This is a fruitful time for you. Anytime we get an ace, it's a promise of something new. So I see a very good idea, a light bulb that just clicked on. What are you going to do with the illumination? What are you going to do with the intention? How are you going to bring this into an Ace of Swords moment where you're talking about it, where you're doing it, where it's out there in the real world? So really good time for business, school, learning, and development, if I had to break it down into something that's easy to wrap your head around. And do brainstorm, do allow yourself to dream and see where those dreams take you, okay? When we're looking at moon, we have the Three of Pentacles in reverse. This is a really great card for putting finishing touches on something, particularly when it's reversed. Let's look at this a little bit up close so you can see it better. So he's almost ready to kind of create what looks like might be a Venn diagram, bringing things together and saying, here's what it was all about. A reversed Three of Pentacles could be a decision that, we're really close to this being done, but if we make this change and this change, it's going to really just be like off the charts. Ultimately, this card is about recognition. completion, and mastery. So you're very, very close to doing exactly what you set out to do. Notice how he's not alone. There's people to the left and to the right. One thing that he's doing that's unique in this one is he's holding that idea firm. So whenever you're collaborating, whenever you work with an editor or a boss or someone that's going to give critique, they're going to try to just, it's almost like a picture on the wall. Once the hole has been put in, maybe all you're trying to do is get it centered. We're not talking about putting in, a new nail in the wall. It's just really about centering the idea a little bit. And so don't let someone throw it off center. That's what I'm going to say with that. I've looked at this card a lot, but it's the first time I've seen the people, because this is a very faint deck. You have to look very closely at the imagery. So he's really secure in what it is that he wants. He also doesn't need or sometimes even care too much about external opinions. We're always going to be aware of them, but it's sort of like understanding the context and understanding that they change over time. Today's 3-star review could be tomorrow's 5-star as time and popularity wax or wane. So just don't worry about it too much. All right. And those are the main messages for today. We're going to take a look in just a moment at a final card. So if there's anything that I haven't hit upon just yet, scribble it down, put it in your phone, hold it in your heart or your mind. We're going to meditate together and take a look here at how to really help you through this karmic reshift or reset. I want to focus on the Stargate, opening you up to something amazing, something wonderful. Close your eyes, if you will, and see yourself on a clear, starry night. You would probably have to be in a part of the world where there are no lights. So maybe imagining yourself in the wilds of Iceland on a summer night when the sky is just as big and bright as it possibly can be. See yourself kind of just stargazing. You're maybe on a hammock looking up at the stars. And as you start to take a few deep breaths, I want you to first and foremost connect with the planet. See yourself firmly planted on this hammock between the two trees. Reach out and touch the tree so you know that you're here. And then take a few deep breaths, letting go of anything that you've been bringing into this meditation, just allowing your heart, your mind, and your body to be open, to be free, and to be connected to the earth. As you open your eyes and take a look at the stars, imagine that through some sort of cosmic magic, it's almost as if the canopy of night starts to come closer to you, or you start to move closer to it. Whatever's happening, you just start to see the stars moving around you. And if you look to the right or left, you don't want to kind of break the illusion. You can see you're actually still here on the planet, but the minute you look at the sky, you start moving through space. See yourself now going to a time where you recognize and see how powerful and bright and resilient you are. Maybe it's the birth of your soul. And all there is knowledge, love, and light. Somewhere along all the fractions of lifetimes and reincarnations, you might have lost that connection to source, the connection to the power, to the insight, to the purpose of why we do this living thing on this planet. And so in this moment, you understand, yes, it's so that I could understand. It's so that I could build up things like compassion. It's so that I could feel and be in the physical realm, because it's great to have knowledge, but to be able to touch other people who also have knowledge, to connect with things, to build things. That's why we're on this planet. It's to have a physical, not just a spiritual existence. Allowing yourself now to stay focused and connected with that singular source of light, which is you. Bask and bathe in that energy of source as I play the singing bowl, and co-create with it what the next chapter is going to look like. And as you do that, I'm going to play the singing bowl, and then we'll look at your final question. allowing your mind, your body, and your spirit to come back into this physical state. Keeping with your mind, body, and spirit all of that light, all of that knowledge that you were able to just download from connecting to your source, to your highest self. Gently on the next exhale, open your eyes if you haven't done so already, and turn your attention towards the final question that you have for me. Welcome back. If you need to, you can rub your hands together, place your hand on your heart. Again, take a couple of breaths, open your eyes, and let's now focus on the final question and see what's coming through. Okay, so whatever question you just asked me, here is the answer to that. We have the 10 of Cups, and the 10 of Cups is reversed. You almost got all the 10s. The only thing that's missing is the 10 of Wands today. But here's the 10 of Cups. This 10 of Cups, like many of these cards today, shows stairways, basically being able to travel up to get to this moment in time where you feel like it was worth it. So first things first here, though, some of you have to push back on external expectations. The 10 of Cups can be the people that we love the most in our lives, best friends, family, loved ones, a partner, for instance, or your own sort of family or children, etc. Sometimes these people who love us the most have the most critique, they have the most to say, they're the most concerned. And so there could be something that you want to do that's contrary to that or challenges that. And that is why the Chariot came through multiple times today, both in dreams and also here. So it's really about saying, no, this is my path, this is my direction, if that's what you need. There could be love knocking on the door for some of you, or a new friendship or partnership. For many of you, this could be a shorter sort of engagement. So if it is short term, then just kind of go with it and see what it has to offer. There's karma that's coming through this month that's going to be cleared and removed. So maybe this is just something that needs to happen right now, and then everything starts to clear out. Ultimately, 10 of Cups is success, it's love, it's opportunity. The reversal is saying, don't rush things, don't second guess things, just allow yourself to be. If people love and support you for who you are, you're gonna be able to sort that out initially, and you can kind of embrace that. If not, then hold space for something better or bigger or brighter. This month, when you manifest, always hold out for something that surpasses your expectations, because you absolutely can get that. Thank you so much for everybody that joined today. I'm going to get my membership panel here up, and I'm going to say thanks to everyone. But if it's your first time, welcome. Please do me a favor, opt into all notifications. They're a little wonky, and not everyone's seeing my live videos. I got some comments on that. Remember to always go to the live tab to watch replays if you need to. You can follow me across social media for additional reminders as well. Thank you to everybody that gave back today, especially some of the newest members. I know that we had some new folks join, so give me a second to say thanks. All right, so let's see. We have rejoining today after 2 years. Thank you so much, Patty, for 2 years of being a member. I appreciate it. Miriam, brand new member, joining today. I think that's who I saw joining in the live stream, so thank you for that. And that's everyone from today. I think 1 day ago when I wasn't live, it was also Susan. So thank you, Susan. All right. To anybody that gave back with a super sticker or super chat, give me 1 second and I'll acknowledge you, and then we'll wrap up. So Chapterless Watch, thank you for your contribution today. And I think that's everyone. I noticed some members in chat as well. So thank you to all of you as well. I see Sapo, Elise, and Paula. So thank you for your membership and your support over the years. All right, everyone, I wish you the best, and I hope that you have a great day. Lots of love and light. I will see you again tomorrow. And until then, take care of yourself, and thanks for being a part of this reading and presentation. All right, take care. Bye-bye.